Hey everyone, it's Kayla from The Casual Crafter, and today we're going to be doing some farmhouse style DIYs. So if that sounds interesting to you, be sure and stick around, hit that subscribe button, and let's go ahead and get right into the video. So starting out, I'm just going to be taking one of these packs of chopping mats you can get at Dollar Tree. They come 2 in a pack. I'm just going to start by measuring out 1-inch sections on that, and then lining those up. And then I'm just going to be using this cutting tool to cut a straight line along that. However, my tool was not quite long enough for the mat, so I ended up having to just use scissors to trim the end there. And I ended up cutting sections on both of these mats, and that gave me plenty of material to work with. So now I'm just going to be laying out my basket here. I'm going to start by laying out some lines horizontally, and then I'm going to be going over in an over-under pattern, alternating between each section, just to give it that basket weave. And once I get it roughly to the size I would like, I'm going to be hot gluing a section just along the edge there. I'm going to be gluing a section on each side. Don't worry about the hot glue because we're going to be painting this, you won't be able to see it anyway. And then I ended up adjusting that a little bit there just to fit the sides a little better and spacing. And I repeat this on all 4 sides, using 2 pieces of the inch wide plastic on each of them. And initially I started out by stapling the corners, just kind of folding them up and giving it that look. However, the staples were not working out very well for me, so I turned over to using hot glue. So I had to do a little bit of deconstruction in this part just to make it work correctly. But I would hot glue the corner and then use these clamps that I got at Dollar Tree as well, just in the hardware section, just to help hold that in place while it was drying. And just to get everything to lay correctly, I did have to undo and kind of slide out that section that was closest to where the edge of the basket might be and kind of pull that up, and then I ended up trimming that off on each side. It took a little finagling, but it ended up turning out really nice. And here I'm just going to be painting it with Rust-Oleum spray paint in the color Almond. And once I take that inside, the spray paint I had a glossy finish and I didn't really want that for the basket. So I ended up taking this tan color acrylic paint as well as some white chalk paint and just mixing that with a little bit of baking soda just to give it a better texture of what I wanted. I'm just going to be going over the whole basket to give it a more matte finish as opposed to the glossy one left by the spray paint. And once that's done, I do want to give it a little bit of highlights and lowlights, so I'm going to be taking more tan color as well as a bit more of a white Waverly chalk paint. And I'm just going to kind of dry brush that on there, just wherever I think might need a little bit of highlighting or lowlighting. You can do the back, however I didn't think it was necessary for what I was using this for. I'm just going to be taking a dark brown acrylic paint just to give it a little more depth and dimension and giving that a good dry brushing as well. I think this turned out super great and it only cost $1 to make this whole thing. You can spend a lot more at other stores, so I thought this was a great option from the Dollar Tree. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. This video is a part of the Heidi Samble DIY challenge. Be sure and check her out. I'll have a link to her and her channel down below. Also with the challenge, there will be a playlist link down below with all the DIYers and crafters that decided to join in with this, so be sure and check out their videos as well. And let's continue on with the video. Up next, I'm going to be taking these wooden serving sets that I got at Aldi this week, and these came in a pack of 4, I believe, for $4.99, and I thought that was a great price for these. If you are interested in getting these, I don't know if you're familiar with Aldi's sales, but they do end each week. Depending on where you live, they might start on Sunday and end on Sunday, or they might start on Wednesday and end on Wednesday. But if you are interested in these, make sure you go to your store now. I thought these were really cute, and I wanted to use them as decor, mostly as like mini cutting boards. So I'm going to be taking one of these square ones, as well as a stencil that I got at Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to be taking the Waverly chalk paint in the color Moss, and I'm just going to be sponging that on. I only really wanted the outside leaf ring there, so I'm going to cover up the words. I'm just going to remove that stencil, and I think this turned out really great, and it looks really nice with my other cutting boards in my kitchen. I don't plan to actually serve food on this, but I think it looks really nice as decor. Here I'm going to be making a little raised tray. First I'm going to be taking this hexagon sign that I got at Dollar Tree and removing the sticker, which was kind of a pain in the butt, and then removing the little hanging bit on the back, as well as this welcome sign on the front. I'm going to try to save that metal to use in a different project. And the paper was peeling off pretty easily, so I decided to peel that off as well. And then I'm just taking this candle holder you can get at Dollar Tree, and then I decided to give that sign a good sanding. And with all that dust and everything, I just took this little mini vacuum I have. I can link it down below. And then I just took a little bit of the Dollar Tree spackle to fill in that little hole from the hanger. Now here I'm just going to roughly try to find the center of this so when I put it on the stand, it'll be in the right place. And I'm just going to hot glue that to it. You could always use something a bit stronger like E6000 in combination with hot glue. However, I thought hot glue would work well for what I was using it for. And I'm just going to be covering this with Waverly white chalk paint. I believe it did take me about 3 coats to do this. Once I have that covered, I'm going to be taking some of the Waverly antique wax. I decided to include this because I think it's important to see when you make a mistake. However, I ended up hating how this turned out with the antique wax on it. I wanted to give it an aged effect, but it just ended up looking orange on there, and I really didn't like it. So I ended up just repainting it white. And I like that this was a little bigger than some of the other stands I might have, then it could fit some more decor on it than I'm used to. And finally, I'm just going to be taking this little sign I picked up at Dollar Tree pretty recently. I'm going to be removing the little hanger on the back. That's not really necessary, but I decided to do it. And then I'm going to be removing the wooden words that say "This is us," as well as trying to take off as much of that paper backing as I can. And once I get that off, I'm going to give it a good sanding, and then get rid of all the scraps, and take that little vacuum I used again. And then I measured out and printed out the word Farmhouse, just using Microsoft Word. I believe the font I used was Modern Love Grunge style. and I believe the size of it was 3.5 by 10 inches long. And I'm just going to be gluing that down using a glue stick I got at Dollar Tree. And I do it in sections just so I can make sure it lays flat. And then once that's glued down, I'm just going to be taking the sanding block and sanding the edges just to get any excess paper off the sides. And then I just put that back in the frame. You could always try and stain the wood part as well. And I think this turned out super great, and I could switch it out for different seasons, but I think this turned out really nice, and it was a really simple DIY. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure and like and comment down below what your favorite item I made today was. Also, be sure and check out that playlist down below of all the other crafters' DIYs. And if you haven't already, be sure and check me out over on Instagram. It's at The Casual Crafter. And if you've made it this far in the video, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. And thanks again. Bye!